Good morning, Willie.
Good morning, Michael.
It pains me to come here and make these remarks this morning, but there's only so long that my lawyer can keep me from speaking out against the slanderous activities against my wife. So I'm going to do so today without specifics, since the appeal period is still ongoing and the lawyers are still sending out bills. Following the appeal period, I would urge the Board of Selectmen to conduct an independent review of the activities of the Board of Ethics, and I urge you to set aside that decision, and I'm going to tell you why. The standards they have set create a precedent which makes it almost impossible in a small town for people to serve as volunteers. They have stretched the definition of personal and financial interest to include personal and financial connections, infinitely in the past and infinitely in the future. And I'm going to give you an example from the decision, 2 sentences. I'm going to only change Mr. Watts' name and the Watts project name. And this is a direct quote from the decision, one of the counts against my wife. The financial interest between Mr. MacDonald and Mr. Tom Vicino or Mrs. Carol Walters, no reflection on you, do not necessarily end with the final payment of Mr. Vicino's or Mrs. Walters' invoices. Potential liabilities or claims may arise out of the work performed by Mr. Vicino and Mrs. Walters on the MacDonald homes and automobiles, and this is from the decision, for years, regardless of whether Mr. Vicino or Mrs. Walters intend to perform additional work for McDonald's. In other words, the standard set eliminates the 2 of you from any decisions on this ethics decision, because we have a more current financial connection. You are our sector company and you are our automotive service time. That's the standard set by financial connection. Furthermore, the ethics board conducted very unprofessional and in my mind corrupt activities. I'm going to leave you with one example. The full ethics board via email debating the topic. One of the members, being a lawyer, concluding his email by saying, "By the way, I haven't copied Mary," I presume that's you, "on this discussion simply because I'm a little uncomfortable about the deliberations being conducted over the town's website." They know themselves that they're acting improperly. And unfortunately, that leads me to my last point. Because this board acted with the presumption of guilt and they've spread their authority infinitely in the past and the future, the wastewater treatment project is going to be the most contentious thing in this town. People are already resisting our requests, 3rd and 4th requests to get on their property. People are lawyering up, people are sending out letters to us, daring us to take them to court. As a result, I cannot be exposed to these kind of liabilities, these unfounded claims. An ethics complaint can be made with no evidence. And in fact, in this case, nobody looked at the site plan applications because there's none of my work in there. No architectural work, no design plans, certainly no site plans. In the same email, they refer to Lisa's presumption of guilt because all the site plans that were ultimately approved by the P&Z were my work. They were not. I was John's business advisor. Later, I designed a house for him completely under a residential permit. So the facts of the case are completely wrong anyway. It doesn't matter to most folks because they ignore the facts. As a result, I am resigning as WPCC chair and a member of the WPC effective immediately. I regret making that decision because I know I can contribute to this effort, but I feel that all volunteers in town now are exposed to unfounded claims, legal bills to defend themselves, disparagement of their good name in the press, and who knows what after that. So regrettably, I submit my resignation letter. It's 8:04. Those are the ends of my remarks. And Mary, I also have a letter that Lisa asked me to deliver to you. Addressed to the Board of Ethics.
Thank you, Michael. I hope you reconsider your resignation.
I hope so. In the past, there's an opportunity to do so.
Okay.
Something has to be done about the Board of Ethics, the way they conducted themselves, and the breadth of this decision. It really damages the town, and I'm sure we all know that.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay. Any other visitors?
Yeah, hi, Phil Single. I am a member of the police commission, however, I'm not speaking for them, I'm not authorized to speak to them. I wanted to talk about, but I am, it's funny, but I am going to talk about the letter that we sent the Board of Selectmen requesting that you to appeal the Watts application to the court. Our only interest in this, other than citizens, and the whole thing is a terrible thing as we just witnessed, our interest in this is the police driveway. The police commission was not consulted on this decision. The planning and zoning, in our opinion, didn't do their job. They didn't consult with the relevant authorities, meaning in this case the traffic authority, which is the police commission. But again, our only interest is in denying use of the police driveway for safety considerations. Police commission, as you all know, does not have its own attorney. We don't have a line item for legal expenses. So we have to come to you, the Board of Selectmen. It's been pointed out to me that the other avenue might be hard for me to imagine this could happen, but the other avenue of approach would be to have the Planning and Zoning Commission, who is obviously the center of the universe of this problem, and they have their own attorney. I assume they have a line item budget for legal expenses. I know they're spending a considerable amount of money to have them file a suit. The only, and I would want to point out that the police driveways is kind of a subsidiary issue. The main issue is the ethics ruling and how this decision may or may not, according to what we just heard, how this decision is tainted. And so I think that's the main issue, and therefore, since the whole thing looks bad, let's say, should be revisited. And the only place it can be revisited is the court. That's the only place it can ever be changed. So I think the main goal ought to be to have the P&Z, have it thrown out, and have the P&Z redo the whole process properly, with proper commissioners seated, and all the rest of it. And if that happens, then maybe there'll be a negotiation over the police driveway. Provide some leverage in negotiation. So the main issue is the tainted decision, the ethics problem. We're a subsidiary issue, but again, we don't have the ability to do anything on our own. It wouldn't even be proper for us to get directly involved in a legal way in a zoning decision. So we leave it to you or the Planning and Zoning Commission. Now maybe you would like to write a letter to the Planning and Zoning Commission and ask them to do it or to consider it. As unlikely as it seems, maybe they would. I don't know. The other thing I just mentioned briefly, and I looked at state statutes on this, it's been repeatedly said in the press that if they recuse themselves, the vote wouldn't have changed. That's absolutely false. It's also been said in the press that you couldn't replace them with alternates. I think that's absolutely false. So I don't know, this keeps going around and around and around. It's kind of an excuse to not do anything. The vote likely would have changed. It certainly would have had different people on there, and the vote could likely have been different. But we keep hearing this myth that nothing would have changed, so why bother doing anything about it? I think the only way to remove this stain is to take it to court and find out who's right. And I know we all hate to spend money, but I just want to clarify where the police commission on this, and so it's either up to them or to you. They, as you all know, they can't abrogate this ruling, and it can only be done by a court, possibly, and we admit it's only a possibility.
Actually, you can't. Town attorney said that he's going to send me in writing. Maybe Lucas and the chief were in yesterday when I was on the phone with the town attorney, who's spoken to Royston and who's concurred that the ship has sailed. There is no basis for appeal, regardless of the ethics decision, and he's going to send me in writing to that effect. So,
aren't we still in litigation?
no.
I thought Watts was still in litigation.
No, because
that's over?
they approved the site plan, that's it.
Okay.
So,
You have so many days to appeal it,
right,
30 days,
30
max,
days.
30 days.
And that, regardless of the ethics decision, it doesn't change.
And it would have had to be an appeal.
And he's talked to Royston, he's got Royston's letter that you guys presented last week to the zoning board on September 12th, I believe. It was to the zoning board, and Royston said, no, that doesn't mean that it can be appealed. It just talks about disqualified. It's too late. So, but I will get something in writing from him.
Okay.
All right. And unfortunately, I have a letter from Mike MacDonald tendering his resignation from the Water Pollution Commission.
Make a motion, we regrettably accept his resignation.
Second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None abstentions, the motion carries.
Wait, I'll oppose it.
You're gonna oppose it, Carol?
Yeah, I don't want
okay.
him to.
I don't wanna resign either. so.
No.
Can we not accept his resignation?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, I know.
I
Doesn't
know,
matter.
I know.
But, yeah.
Maybe Lucas can hold a gun to his head.
It's a terrible time to have such a smart.
I didn't see Todd in the doorway or all.
I had my gun to his head, sir.
It's a shame.
All right,
My guns in here.
all right.
Wasn't
Is there anything we
there,
can do about that, or nothing, or talk to them, or?
Talk to
You
him.
can talk to him, but,
I can accept the motion at the table.
okay, I'll do my motion then to accept his resignation.
Second the table.
can I make a motion to table the resignation?
Okay, I'm gonna say that.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say. Oh.
So you call
And now I know why we got rid of the morning meetings.